Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi everyone, today we are talking about proactive leadership. Proactive leader anticipates challenges and has a plan for handling them. So when I think about my journey with being a proactive leader, I feel like it's always just been part of who I am. And I feel that way because after doing the positive intelligence and learning about my controller, saboteur, I think this is how I controlled. It was really being proactive. You might want to call it project management, but it was something that I was pretty strong at. So the idea is, how do we really plan for things? And hospitality, for me, it was all about focusing on planning. Because imagine, you have so many different things that can go wrong in hospitality, whether it's restaurants, events, hotels, vacation rentals. You're constantly putting out fires. So the idea is, let's be really proactive with everything else so that when those fires come, we're smooth sailing. An example would be this restaurant group that I worked at in San Francisco. We were right over the Golden Gate Bridge in Mill Valley. It was called the Buckeye. And they told me that the power went out a lot. I worked there for a couple years, and I'll say, I remember it going out at least once, and there were always things that were happening there. And I'll say it probably was a little haunted as well. But the power went out once, and we had these boxes. And so they were emergency kit boxes for when the power went out. We had the old-fashioned manual credit card swipers so that we could cash people out and have them leave the restaurant if they wanted. Some people would just stay and hang out, and we'd give them candles. We had flashlights, candles, whatever we needed to ensure that we had light, extra pens. So we'd check them out to each server, and then we would check them back in, do inventory on them, so we would know if we needed to restock them. Because who knows? The power could go out the next day. But the idea was always about, how can we be proactive when the power goes out? Because I don't know about you, but I have been in restaurants when the power went out and the servers are like flipping. They don't know what to do. Kitchen doesn't know what to do, and it's all crazy. Well, let's keep the energy calm and not go crazy. And then I think of event planning. I had something that I kind of called it the crazy timeline because it was pretty intense. But I literally would do a timeline for the entire day, start to finish, on the events. And it was to help all of the vendors so that everybody knew, because when you're doing an event, you're all relying on one another. How in the world are you successful at an event if you don't know what's happening with when the flowers are arriving, when you're going to have dinner served, all of these details? Now, I did actually have it outlined to the minute. Were we off sometimes? Absolutely. And that wasn't what it was about. And I tried to let all the vendors know. I was like, this isn't because I'm going to be the stickler and make sure we're to the minute, but this guides us all so that we know when we're going to shift. And I'll let them know throughout the day, we're running about 10 minutes ahead of schedule or behind, just so that we can all keep on track. But I really feel that it helped be successful because, again, events, constantly things that we have no control over. I had no control that the rabbi didn't show and was 30 minutes late. No control over it. But I can make sure that the flowers are ready if the rabbi is there on time. It's really just project management when we think about it, right? So I found this great article by communityleader.com. And I love that they did the comparison of a thermostat and the thermometer. So they talk about being proactive is the key to being productive, being more in control and prepared, because you must have already established precautionary steps for any eventual circumstance. So being proactive, as the name implies, means that you prepare for something before it happens. The reverse of being proactive is behaving reactively to situations by waiting for them to unfold before you do anything. The actions of a proactive person will determine how events unfold, while the unfolding of an event determines how a reactive person would act. So, comparing both behaviors to a thermostat and a thermometer, the thermostat representing being proactive and the thermometer representing reactive, both devices have something to do with temperature, but their mode of actions and usefulness sets them apart. A thermostat reads the temperature of the environment and is in and tries to regulate it. If the temperature level gets too high or too low, the thermostat proactively adjusts itself to keep the environment within the desired temperature range, constantly reads the room to ensure that nothing beyond the desired temperature outcome happens. On the other hand, the thermometer reads the temperature of the environment it's placed in. It just reacts to whatever is happening around it, doesn't directly influence change, nor does it do anything to manage the environment around it. There's nothing inspiring about the actions of a thermometer. It will just absorb whatever it finds in the environment and it reacts to it. If the temperature is cold, the environment reflects to the cold. The same thing happens when the environment is warm. All it does is react. So a proactive person, like the thermostat, is a visionary. They keep reading their environment and anticipating changes so that they can implement and appropriate actions to curb whatever unwanted actions occur. So why do people love proactive leaders? A proactive leader will have a constant read on the stress levels, emotions, conditions, and general morale of the people and environment around them. When it gets too difficult, they know how to adjust to make everyone around them at ease because they constantly monitor their environment. They know when it's time to switch things up. They know when it's time for fun breaks and serious work. They know when their people need a firmer prod and when they need to be left alone and to do things on their own. If it gets too hot, they cool things off by having a calming effect on the people. They're listeners, nurturers, supporters, and advisors. People trust them better because they inspire confidence and commitment. A reactive leader, on the other hand, will react to their environment, meaning that they will take in the temperature of the environment and give back corresponding energy. So, if they find themselves in a tense, cold environment, they tend to lose their cool and they become critical, harsh, irritable, impatient, and sometimes may even lash out. They are feeders, not nurturers. They take their cues from the people they are supposed to lead instead of the other way around. A reactive leader will not boost the morale of the environment they find themselves in. Neither will they inspire trust, commitment, or confidence in the people they lead. Rather, people are weary of them because of their outbursts. I'm sure we have all had a reactive leader, right? When I think of a proactive leader and how they read the room, I think of restaurants. I think of managing and watching the floor, noticing that a ticket time has been too long on a table, noticing that maybe they haven't even gotten beverages yet. And I'm sitting there watching a server come out with their appetizer. And so the proactive restaurant manager and me, I'm going straight to the bar right away to go grab those drinks, make sure that they've actually been ordered. So you always are finding little areas to smooth over and nurture. I'm also noticing the team members. How are the team members holding up? Are they tired? Do they need a power bar? Do they need a break? Are they melting? So you're constantly being proactive in whatever you're doing. Traits that every proactive leader must have. They think long term and focus on the bigger picture. They inspire others to be better. They're highly organized. They're great listeners and communicate well. They know when to ask for help and advice. They have excellent problem-solving skills. They take criticism well. They know where their team's strengths lie and how to use them to their best capacity. I knew the servers that would get frazzled if they had more than 3 tables, right? I made sure that I really spaced them out in the seatings. Sometimes we've gone to a restaurant with friends and they'll be like, "Why are all these empty tables? I don't understand." And I was like, "Oh, it's either a kitchen thing or a server thing." They're like, "What are you talking about, Ellie?" I'm like, "Well, maybe there's somebody down in the kitchen. And so if we get seated and then we don't get help, they know that we're going to be more upset. Maybe a server can't take any more people on. Maybe they just had a rush and we're showing up and we see there's these empty tables. Maybe a server called out, was late." There's so many different pieces, and part of why I love hospitality so much is you're constantly managing all these spinning plates. It's never a dull moment, and every day is different. So, a proactive leader has loyalty, compassion, and integrity. They have a confident and calm demeanor. So, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I need to be a proactive leader. There's opportunity here for me. So, transform your reactionary self into a visionary one. And here's how to do it. Always read your environment, but focus more on the future. When you drive, there's a reason. Your windshield is larger than your rear view mirror. That's because what's in front of you is more important than what's behind. Even though you occasionally have to take pointers from behind to ensure you're still on the high track, take note of the past to ensure you're making mistakes. But don't dwell on it because that's not what's important. Take personal responsibility for successes. As a proactive person, you cannot afford to take the back seat when it comes to decision making. You have to always be thinking of ways to be better, always to improve, ways to reach your goals with fewer problems. Thinking of the big picture. There will always be little things vying for your attention. Is it up to you to determine if they are important enough to distract you from your major purpose or something you can delegate for some other time? I have a delegation outline that I like to recommend to managers, and it's an ABC list, right? What is gotta happen right now? What can wait a little bit? And what is like the I wish list? Focusing more on the things that you have within your control. As much as we encourage you to be proactive, doesn't mean you have to be a control freak, right? My control saboteur. Part of being a visionary is understanding what things are beyond your control and what things you can outsource to others to help you with, and what things you should focus your attention on. In the long run, this helps to mitigate stress factors that could hurt your well-being or progress. When I think of delegating and knowing what I can let go of, recently I let go of my QuickBooks. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I'm great at. I will do part of it, but I will hand it over for reconciliation and we'll review quarterly because that's not where I need to be stressed out at. Learn how to always prioritize. Some things are more important than others, and that's okay. It's also okay to limit your focus on those important things so you don't spread yourself too thin and fall back on the spectrum of being reactionary while bouncing between tasks. Focus on a few big goals that will yield your results instead of focusing on several small goals that lead you nowhere. I just had this conversation with somebody and they were asking me about the conferences I'll be traveling to this year in our industry. And I said, to this year, it's 2. It's not always 2 every year, but this year it's 2. They're like, "Oh, okay. So why 2?" Priorities. My daughter's young. I don't want to miss any part of this. And that's what's sustainable for me, especially if I'm traveling to be on site with clients. I only want to be focusing on traveling once a quarter, and that's what this allows. Try to imagine every possible scenario and think them through. What are the likely things that you expect to happen if you decide to take a step? Think through them. Create plans. Your plans may change, or you might end up not using most of it, but considering all the likely scenarios and creating plans around them will help you prepare for when they occur. Don't wait for things to happen. Make them happen. This is probably the most important aspect of being proactive. Don't wait, crossing your arms to see what happens before you act. Being proactive means taking the initiative to venture out into the unknown and make things happen, knowing that you are prepared for anything that will happen after. People will gravitate towards and are more open towards a proactive leader than a reactive leader because they inspire trust, confidence, and commitment from their followers. It's easier to trust their judgment because it is result-oriented, not hurried, put together to patch things up. Proactive leaders get things done by developing problem-solving techniques, policies, and programs to help whatever community they find themselves in. They also take initiative and risk to produce the outcome they desire. Proactive leadership is not about being always on the move or moving with urgency or even about moving fast at all. I don't know about you, but I've seen those leaders where they're always like so busy and moving so fast. And that's not always respectable. It's about getting a mindset that keeps you grounded even when things aren't going the way you planned. It's about choosing to respond to things on your terms rather than having to make do with the cards you're dealt with. So I will leave with you a quote by John C. Maxwell. I believe that everyone chooses how to approach life. If you're proactive, you focus on preparing. If you're reactive, you end up focusing on repairing. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.